Okay, so we're going to start with 24.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had an assignment yesterday.
Yeah, so those of you that are gone, or we're going, of course you do. Everything we did yesterday is online. 2 separate videos. One when we went over the questions from your assignment from the day before, and 1 video of the notes. So you can take care of that on your own. So 24.
Yeah, this one.
I'm going to save us the time. It says x squared over x squared plus 2x plus 1 divided by
X squared over 1.
3x over x squared minus 1. But for those of you that were gone yesterday, when you're dividing 2 fractions, it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So as I write down this problem, I'm going to save myself the time of having to rewrite it twice and just change it into a multiplication problem right off the bat. And then once I've done that, I'm pretty much looking at the same situation as what we have been doing the last few days.
X plus 1.
So this factors into x plus 1,
X minus 1.
x minus 1.
And the other one are both X plus 1.
This one factors into x plus 1 and x plus 1.
Where did
X squared plus 2x plus 1, because 1 times 1 is 1 and 1 plus 1 is 2. All right, so now I can cancel x plus 1 and an x plus 1. This x cancels one of the x's from there. And so my final answer is x times x minus 1 over 3 times x plus 1. Okay? And then the fun part that is befuddling many people is the restrictions on the variable, which, like we talked about yesterday, is just another way of saying where would the discontinuities of this graph be?
-1.
Right, so if I look at x plus 1, it means that x can't equal -1. X plus 1 is the same thing. And then 3x means x can't equal 0.
But
Is it
positive
0
one is one of the answers.
If it's
What?
Positive 1 is one of the answers in the book.
Oh, right.
That's what I said too.
Okay, because, all
I
right,
was confused.
strike that. Because this started out, is 0 not one of the answers either?
0 is. 0 plus
Are you
1
sure?
is -1.
Oh, okay. Because this originally started out as a division problem. So this really
So
was
the negative one's on the top.
3x over x squared minus 1, right? And so that means that this x plus 1 times this x minus 1 was on the bottom.
So you have to not only do the bottom, you have to do the one on top.
Apparently now, yeah. So that's fun.
So that's what maybe for every time then.
When we're dividing, yeah. So that means to do that, I really need to write out the problem. So I'll do a better job of that this next time. Okay, what else? What? What did you say?
22. All of them.
No, 20. Oh. I got
What's
one.
the assignment?
I don't remember. Okay, so since we are messing with the, I said yeah,
Reciprocal.
with the no restrictions on the variables, let's factor this out first before we flip it over. So if I look at 6x plus 6y, what can I factor out of that? 6. The y minus x is already factored, divided by 18 over, what can I factor out of this? 5 over x minus y. Okay, so once we get to that factored point right there, before we move on, let's figure out what the restrictions on the variables are. Wrong and wrong. What value of x would I have to plug into this problem
0.
to get a 0 on the bottom?
0.
What's that?
You
The
guys put-
same number for x and y. So what that means is x cannot equal y, because if I plug in x in here, x minus x is 0. If I plug in x in here, x minus x is 0. Okay? Now that we've done that, let's invert and multiply. So I'm going to flip this over. What can I do?
Can you get rid of the y and no, I don't know. Take the
Okay, the
6.
easy one is 6 goes into 6 once and 6 goes into 18 3 times. What about the y minus x and the x minus y?
Let's move this
Switch to a negative.
Yeah, I can cancel those as long as I switch this to a negative. So then my final answer would be negative 5 times x plus y over 3. Okay? So the moral of that story, getting number 21 wrong, is that if we're going to talk about the restrictions on the variables, we need to do the factoring first before we flip it over and multiply so we can figure out what x can be.
Okay, 25 and on.
What? 32? Yeah, are these the ones? Yeah, these are these ones. Okay. All right, so 32 through 35 are lovely.
Oh, wait, we're not 5.
I'm going to ask you to work on that a little bit more on your own before I spend the entire class time working
Wait, no, I
on it.
have 25.
So do you want us to write this one out like?
Okay, wait, let's take it off. Share mine.
Okay. For these last 4 problems, I'm not going to lie, there's going to be a little rough bloodshed yet. This is a little rough. Okay. First one's easy. Should be.
Why you switch it?
What can I, because remember we're going to factor it first so we can figure out the restrictions of the variables and then flip it. What can I factor out of 6x cubed and 6x squared? 6x squared. So that would leave me x minus 1. So that was not too bad. What can I factor out of x to the 4th and 5x to the 3rd? X cubed. So that would leave me x plus 5. Okay, let's stop there because Taylor said he's confused.
Why not?
Hmm?
I just don't know where the 1 came.
Because I need 6x squared times 1 so I
Okay.
get the 6x squared. All right, now you're going to love this. In order for me to factor the 3x squared, oh no, actually it's not so bad, never mind. What do you notice I can do with this stuff here?
3
I can take a 3 out. So that changes it to 3 times x squared minus 5x plus 4. Okay, so now I can factor that into what?
4 and x plus, no.
So x and x is going to give me x squared, and then I need 2 numbers that multiply
Minus
together.
4 and negative 1.
Negative 4 and negative 1. Okay? What can I factor out of this bottom one? 2. So then that will make it x squared plus x minus 20. So that factors into x and x plus 4, 5, and minus 4. Alright? So before we flip this over and start canceling things, we can now look and see what the restrictions on the variables would be. From this x cubed right here, that tells us that x cannot equal,
Negative 5.
from this x cubed right here, that tells us x cannot equal 0. This x plus 5 means that x can't equal negative 5. Same these right here, because those are going to cancel, and then x minus 4 means x can't equal 4, right? Okay, so now let's flip that over and multiply.
That's been one really weird thing. That was great. I don't know
So what can we cancel?
what are you doing? Wait, why'd you rewrite that?
Because it's a division problem, so I have to flip it over and make it a multiplication problem.
The plus
So
5.
the x minus 5's cancel, the x plus 5's cancel,
The negative 4.
the x minus 4's cancel.
So there would be. Wait,
No, we're not done yet.
The 3 and the 6 here.
The 3 and the 6 reduced
So
to
just
be a
6
2.
times.
And what about the x squared over the x cubed?
Isn't that just 6x then?
Just get rid of x1
I'm getting rid of both x's on top, and I'm left with 1x on the bottom.
2 over x.
So 2 times 2 is 4 over x. So that whole mess that we started with really just reduces down to 4 over x.
It's gonna come out safe.
Huh?
Why do we need this?
Let me see your paper.
All right, so this one is already a multiplication problem, so I don't have to do any flipping.
X in the first one.
Okay, so I can factor out a
Wait, what number is that?
hold on, 33. Factor 2x out of both terms on the top, which will leave me with a x minus 3. The bottom factors into
9
what can I factor out of a 9x plus 81? And that will leave me with an x plus, and then x squared minus 9 is the difference of 2 squares, so that's x and plus 3 and minus 3. So now we can do the restrictions on the variables.
-9.
Can't be -9, can't be -3, can't be
Positive.
+3. All right, let's do some canceling.
1, 2,
And that's it, right? So that leaves us 18x on top over x plus 9 times x plus 3.
that one was.
Okay? Keep going.
Okay.
Right now we're on 532.
Yeah, so like,
You really just all they should like inside the soul.
no.
All right. If you thought you were unhappy before,
Now I'm really unhappy.
you will be even more so now.
And is it negative?
The top is easy. X squared minus x minus 2 factors into
-1,
x minus 2, x plus 1. The bottom, however, what's different about it? Yeah, it's 2x squared, not just x squared. So off to the side here. This is one of those where what I have to do is I have to go, instead of multiply together to make 2 and add to be -5, which doesn't exist, I multiply these numbers together first and get 4. Now I need two numbers that multiply together to give me 4 and add to give me
Four and
-5. And that would be a -4 and a -1. Okay? So that allows me to rewrite this as 2x squared minus 4x minus x plus 2. Right? We've done this before in an earlier chapter. Now I'm going to look at these first two terms right here. What can I factor out of both of those? A 2 and a x, and that leaves me x minus 2. And then if I look at these two terms right here, I can factor out a just a -1, and that will change this into x minus 2. Okay? In order to be able to factor it, you do. And what do you notice?
They're
Not
the
canceling, the
same.
stuff inside the parentheses happens to work out to be the same. So what we just figured out is that 2x squared minus 5x plus 2, bless you, factors into 2x minus 1 and x minus 2. Okay? All right, times, let's forget the whole restriction on the variable thing because our life is miserable enough already. So the x squared minus x minus 12 was on the top, now it's going to go onto the bottom. So that is x, and I'm factoring this one right
3
here.
and 4.
Right, -4 and +3. Now to factor the 2x squared plus 5x minus 3, I have to do this same game again because there's a number in front. So I'm going to factor 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. So I start by multiplying those together and I get negative 6. What two numbers multiply together to be negative 6 and add to be positive 5? Right, 2 and 3, but that won't work out with the plus minus. Right, positive 6 and negative 1. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2x squared plus 6x minus x minus 3. What? I know. What can I factor out of? I can factor out of 2x, which will leave me x plus 3, and then from negative x minus 3, I can factor out a
Negative 1.
negative 1, which will also leave me x plus
And
3.
what do you know? They're the same.
What do you know? They're the same.
I know why you put it. Oh, gee.
Now I can
Those
cancel some stuff. These cancel.
Those X
Those
plus 3.
cancel. Those cancel.
Shut up, these are all canceled.
Wait, what about restrictions?
Oh, but let's not do that. This is.
This is like gonna be like on a quiz, like a problem quiz, right?
Oh yeah.
No.
One problem.
No.
It's a word.
On the
Can
quiz.
you make it worth like
Worth
half a point?
20 points.
Half a point.
You get the very first step wrong, you get the whole problem wrong, you get a 0.
You learned a lot yesterday. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we did. We learned a lot.
Yeah.
Just go watch our menu.
No. Hey, we just took the division and made it multiplication by flipping it over, that's all. That's the only thing we did.
I'll just think of this have a Romanian study party.
What's that?
Think of this have a Romanian study party.
Carl said the Romanians hate us.
Who said that?
They can't read it, it's okay.
They hate us?
They don't know what we said.
They make fun of us, they call us fat.
Yeah,
What?
that's true. Can't deny that.
So I'm glad I said I don't like Romanians yesterday. People that weren't here, so they don't even know what we're talking about.
What's up?
Okay, so 35, same thing. If I'm going to factor 2x squared plus 5x plus 2, since there's a 2 in the front, what do I have to do
Wait,
first?
we already did this exact same formula.
We did?
Yeah, it's the
For real?
Actually, there was.
Oh, that's minus. The other one was minus. It's going to change everything.
Oh.
Wait, 2 times 2 is 4. And then I need two numbers that multiply together to be 4 and add to be 5. So 4 and 1. So I'm going to rewrite that as 2x squared plus 4x plus 1x plus 2. So what can I factor out of the first two? 2x, which leaves me
X plus 2.
x plus 2, which is the same thing that I have right there. So I'm just going to make that 1 times x plus 2. So that top thing up here factors into
2x plus 1, x plus 2.
all right, now the bottom one here, 4x squared minus 1, is the difference of two squares in disguise. Normally we just look like it's x squared minus 1, but 4 is 2 squared. So the 4 is a square and the x squared is also a square, so I can make this 2x minus 1 times 2x plus 1, just like before. Okay? Times, now to factor this here, since I have a 2 in front, I have to do that game again. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. So I need two numbers that multiply together to make negative 2 and add up to be positive 1. How about 2 and negative 1? So I'm going to rewrite this as 2x squared plus 2x minus x minus 1. What can I factor out of there?
2x.
What does that leave me?
X.
Plus 1, good. What can I factor out of here? Negative 1, which also leaves me x plus 1. So this factors into 2x minus 1 times x plus 1.
Holy moly.
No kidding. And then the bottom one, thank goodness, is a normal one. X and x, two numbers that multiply to be negative 2 and then negative 1 and 2. So, cancel? Yeah. Hold on, question.
So it's plus 1.
2x plus 2. What did we do where? 2x plus 2? This one? Here. Right. I don't know why it wouldn't. So when we factored this, when we did the thing, we had a 2x plus 1 outside the parentheses, so that's where that came from. And an x plus 2. Okay? Okay. So the 2x plus 1s cancel. 2x minus 1s cancel. And you go, really? All that work just for x plus 1 over x minus 1? Why didn't they just say that in the first place? And of course, there'd be restrictions on the variables and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so turn those in.